Magandang araw. Ako si QE Code. Welcome to my channel, which is Python through fun and practical examples. So in this video, we're going over our last software design pattern, which is the visitor pattern. So the visitor pattern is super useful when you want to perform different operations on a bunch of different class-like objects, like players, enemies, or NPCs, without cluttering the class with logic they don't need. So instead of using a bunch of if statements or is instance checks to figure out what each object is, the visitor pattern lets you define a separate visitor class that knows what each type is. For example, if you want to apply effects, display info, or calculate stats with different entities, the visitor pattern lets you do that and it keeps all the logic in one place. What we can also do is have two different types of visitor objects for different purposes without having to actually go back and change all the entities. So I just have some example code here. This is not using the visitor pattern, but it'll just kind of get my point across. So we have three entities here. We got player, enemy, and NPC, and they do different things. They just have different stats or different, class methods or whatever. And then we just have this method for different interactions where you're passing in the class type, and then you have to do all these checks to see, do this if it's a player, do this if it's an enemy, do this as an NPC. And then we have this initialized, and then if we loop through, then it'll just, call this, and it'll kind of go through. So if we go ahead and run that, as you can kind of already see, everything works. It calls a different one depending on which entity it is. Except this is not very good because, of course, if you need to have more entities added, it's kind of annoying to go back and change all this. So we're going to make a bunch of different changes to make this a lot better and actually implement the visitor pattern. So first I'll do from ABC, import ABC and abstract class or abstract methods. Okay, there's that. And then we will make our visitor. So class visitor ABC abstract method, and then visit player self player. And then I will also do one for the other two. Visit player visit the enemy and visit the NPC. Okay, so that takes care of that, and then we will have our, because this is obviously well, I need to put pass in here. And also my semicolon, my colons, I mean. And then we will make our implementation, because this is obviously abstract. So we will do class game entity, also from ABC. It'll also be an abstract method. This one is, we'll just accept a visitor. Visitor. Okay, there's that. And then these are the concrete game entities. So we got player, which all of these are going to be a subclass of game entity. So I'll go ahead and do that. So we got player, you got enemy, and you got NPC. And then of course, because this is abstract, we need to override this inside of each one of these. So I'll just copy this, and we can change those as we go. So we have that. So let's just see here. We got a name, and we got the visitor. And what we do is visitor dot visit player. So, and then for this one, it'll be the visit enemy. And then this one, it's going to be visit NPC. Let me see if everything else is good here. Okay, so that covers the game entities. And now we just need to make the concrete implementations of our visitor in order to fill this out. So I'll go ahead and go down here and do that as well. This obviously is not good, so we will get rid of that. We'll worry about this later. And now we'll make another class we'll have two different types of visitors. So interaction visitor. And then we can do the override those methods up there. Visit player, self, player. And what are we going to do? We'll just have a print statement here. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing for the other two, which will look like this. So that's one type. We're going to show that it's the interaction type, and we're going to do some interactions. And then we'll just do another one down here, which will be for rendering. And we'll just have this in here. So that's for rendering. Now we have both of those, which is good. And now we need our client code, which I will make a method for that. Pass in entities and then pass in a visitor. For entity in entities, entity.accept visitor. And now what we're going to do is keep this, but we don't need this anymore. But now we'll make the objects for the actual the two different visitors that we have. So interaction equals interaction visitor, and then the client will pass in the entities, and then we'll pass in the visitor, which is the interaction visitor. And we can do the same thing down here with the other one. It'll be renderer. Renderer equals renderer visitor, and then client pass in the entities, and then we'll pass in the renderer. And that should work. So when this method is going to be called, it'll pass in all of our entities into each one of these, and depending on what type of visitor it is, it's just going to call these methods with the proper one. So we'll go ahead and run that, and everything should still work fine unless I made a typo somewhere. Without an notation, yeah, I made a typo somewhere. Let me see. Which one is that? Visit player. And visit enemy. This one only has 3. So that is my typo. This is the glory of coding. Try it again. Okay, so perfect. So here's the... Actually, I'm still missing one. Let me just check. There's the player. Visit player. Let me... Okay, I did find another typo. I forgot to do this. Self. Make that bigger. And then if you run it again, this should give us the result we want. So now we have the 3 different interactions for the interaction visitor, where we have, the player object, the enemy object, the NPC object, and then the same thing with the renderer visitor. So we have the, this player on screen, this enemy is red, and then NPC with dialogue, it drew that. So Yeah, so that's it for this video. This is the last software design patterns video. What I was thinking about doing after is more. Well, I still need to go to the solid principles that I was going to go through. So that's probably what the next video is going to be. So that's it for this. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified of any new videos. As always, let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. See you next time. I'm Code Palam.